The laughter sliced through the elegant murmur of the restaurant, sharp and deliberate. It was a sound designed to command attention, full of arrogance and intended to be heard by everyone. The man responsible for it, dressed in an expensive charcoal suit, sat back in his chair with a look of pure mockery in his eyes. He casually waved a small stack of crisp new bills in his hand. Standing across from him was the young waitress, perfectly still and silent, her face a careful mask that revealed nothing. For a brief moment, the entire world around her seemed to dissolve. The gentle clinking of silverware on porcelain plates, the low hum of conversations from other tables, and even the soft jazz music that normally filled the air all vanished. They were replaced by the powerful, thundering beat of her own heart in her chest. He had laughed at her accent. He had openly made fun of her struggle to pronounce a single word from the menu. And then, he had thrown down a challenge, a cruel game that was about to change everything. "Serve me in perfect English," he had declared, "and I'll pay you $1,000. Her name was Ariana Velasquez. At just 23 years old, she had been working grueling double shifts for months, sending every spare dollar back home to support her aging mother and younger brother in Guatemala. The restaurant, a sophisticated establishment called Maison des Lumières, was a world away from anything she had ever known. The patrons here wore tailored suits and flowing silk dresses. Their perfumes and colognes were quiet whispers of immense wealth. In her simple, crisp white shirt and dark navy apron, Ariana usually felt invisible, a background figure in the lives of the rich. But sometimes people like this man made sure she felt small. She endured it all with a quiet, unwavering grace. Every heavy tray she carried, every polite smile she forced onto her lips, was another step toward the dream she refused to abandon, to one day become a language teacher and open a small school in her hometown. That afternoon, the restaurant was bathed in beautiful daylight. Laughter and conversation drifted through the air, and bright sunlight streamed through the massive windows, making the crystal chandeliers sparkle like diamonds. Ariana had approached the table where the older man was seated. He was Mr. Collins, a famously wealthy real estate magnate known for his loud, booming voice and an even sharper tongue. With him were two women, his much younger girlfriend, Veronica, who wore a striking emerald green dress, and his assistant, Elaine, in a professional beige top. Both women watched the unfolding scene with a mixture of clear discomfort and undisguised curiosity. Ariana had simply stumbled over the pronunciation of a word while presenting the specials in English, her voice slightly hesitant. Mr. Collins had pounced on the mistake instantly, a wide smirk spreading across his face. "You work in a place like this and you can't even speak proper English?" He chuckled, fanning the money in his hand for effect. "I'll tell you what, sweetheart. If you can serve me, just for this meal, speaking English properly, I'll give you this $1,000. His loud proclamation drew stares from nearby diners. A few shook their heads in disapproval, but most just watched, eager to see how the young waitress would respond to the public humiliation. Ariana felt a hot flush of shame burn her cheeks. For a single fleeting second, her first instinct was to turn and run away. But then, an image of her mother's tired, loving face flashed in her mind. She remembered her mother, staying up late into the night, her fingers sore from sewing, always telling her, "Don't ever let pride make you feel small, Mija. Let your strength be what makes you stand tall." And so Ariana stood a little straighter. She offered a faint, almost unnoticeable smile and began to speak again. Her voice was soft and careful, as if each syllable was a deliberate step she was taking through a violent storm. At first, her English was just as hesitant as before. Her accent felt thick and heavy in the tense air. Mr. Collins's smirk grew wider. He was clearly enjoying his little show. But then something inside Ariana shifted. She took a slow, deep breath, placed her small serving tray down on a nearby stand, and said calmly, in absolutely flawless French, "Souhaitez-vous que je continue en français?" Would you like me to continue in French? The laughter at the table died instantly. Before anyone could even think of a response, she switched again, this time to a smooth and melodic Italian. Then she transitioned into a crisp, precise German, followed by a fluid tonal Mandarin, and finally, a resonant, flowing Arabic. Each language poured from her lips with an effortless grace and perfect precision. Her eyes remained steady, and her voice never once wavered. The entire restaurant had fallen completely silent. Diners at other tables had turned in their seats to stare. Mr. Collins, who had been laughing so loudly just moments before, now sat completely frozen, his mouth hanging slightly open. The knot of his expensive red tie suddenly seemed to be choking him. The two women beside him were visibly stunned. Veronica's hand was frozen mid-air, her wine glass trembling ever so slightly. Ariana paused, took another quiet breath, and returned to English. Her tone was still polite, but now it held an unbreakable firmness. "Or would you prefer I continue in English, sir?" she asked. Her voice contained no anger, no bitterness, only a profound and quiet dignity that filled the silent room. The $1,000 in Mr. Collins's hand slowly lowered to the table. His smirk was completely gone, replaced by a complex expression. For a long, heavy moment he said nothing at all. Then he let out a soft breath and looked up at her, his eyes filled with something entirely unexpected. Shame. After she walked away to attend to her duties, the table remained in a thick, uncomfortable silence. Mr. Collins leaned back in his chair, his eyes cast downward. As a man who measured the value of everything and everyone by wealth and success, he had just been served a powerful lesson that the true worth of a person could never be counted in dollars. Later that day, as Ariana was clearing another table, the restaurant manager approached her. He looked both nervous and immensely proud. "Mr. Collins asked me to give this to you," he said quietly, handing her a thick envelope. Inside, she found a check. It wasn't for $1,000, it was for $10,000. Tucked alongside it was a handwritten note on expensive stationery. It read, "For your courage, your intelligence, and for the lesson I desperately needed to learn today, please forgive my ignorance, Richard Collins." Tears blurred Ariana's vision. Her hands trembled as she held the check and the note. It wasn't the money that made her heart ache with emotion. It was the apology. It was the simple, sincere words of a man admitting he was wrong. For the first time in a very long time in this city of strangers, she felt seen, truly and completely seen. That night, as she walked home through the quiet city streets, the lights shimmered like fallen stars on the pavement. She thought about her mother, her brother, and the little dream of a school that she carried so carefully in her heart. With this, maybe that dream wasn't so far away anymore. She had always held on to the belief that kindness could grow in even the coldest and harshest of places. And today, she had seen it blossom right before her very eyes. In the weeks that followed, the story of her encounter went viral after a customer who had recorded the exchange posted it online. People from all over the world shared the video, celebrating the quiet waitress who had humbled a millionaire without ever raising her voice. Yet, Ariana remained unchanged. She was still humble, still hard-working, and deeply grateful. She still served coffee with a warm smile. She still saved every dollar she could. She still dreamed of her home. But now, she carried something even stronger than hope. She carried the undeniable proof that dignity and grace were treasures worth far more than gold, and that the quietest voices often teach the world its loudest and most important lessons.